Okay, guys, we're back with another episode of Bend Don't Break. Before we get into this episode of this week, I just want to let you guys be aware, in case you didn't know, wonder why I'm wearing the pink. It's October, and that means it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So definitely, if you guys are interested, because the league is supporting it, so Bend Don't Break is going to support it. If you feel like getting donation or anything like that, don't be afraid to Google, look up a place you could donate. Also, represent. Buy some pink bands, pink shirts. NFL's also got some hats for breast cancer awareness. So, just gear up if that's how you want to, beat cancer. So, let's just get into this week's episode. All right, guys. So, we're back into it. Week 4. Let's do what we do. I ain't got much else to say. Let's jump into the first matchup. Okay, guys, so stepping up into our first matchup this week, we have Donkey Kong D's Nuts versus Jiggly Slut, 137 to 118, giving Donkey Kong the win by 19. So, let's break down Donkey Kong D's Nuts top 3 players this week. First up, we have Le'Veon Bell, who had 27 fantasy points from 22 carries, 129 yards, and 1 touchdown. Biggest play this week was a cutback and run in for the Steelers' first touchdown in the game. Next, we have Jeremy Maclin, who had 26 fantasy points from 11 catches, going for 148 yards. Last, we have defense, Panthers defense and special teams, who had 15 fantasy points by keeping their opponents only to 23 points, having 4 interceptions, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 touchdown. This touchdown was also the highlight play for the Panthers, which was Josh Norman with pick 6, giving Panthers their first touchdown in the game. So, good job. And here is Donkey Kong D's Nuts top 3 players. Well, that matchup was definitely quality over quantity for that one. You had Jigs, who had 6 players go over double digits, but then you had DK, who had only 3, but at least 2 of his almost made it to 30, so definitely quality over quantity. DK, I guess in the end, Jigs just couldn't handle those nuts, so you're going on undefeated. Now up, we have Ghost of Sparta versus Red Zone Weapon. Final score, 159 to 64, giving Red Zone Weapon the biggest loss this week by 95. So, let's break into Ghost of Sparta's top 3 players this week. First up, we have DeAndre Hopkins, who had 25 fantasy points from 9 catches and 157 yards. Second, we have Jamal Charles, who had 20 fantasy points from 11 carries and going for 75 yards. Also, Jamal had 6 catches for 70 yards. Last, we have Brandon Marshall, who had 19 fantasy points from 7 catches and 128 yards. Big highlight play for him was a 50-yard deep catch on Brent Grimes in the game. So, this is Ghost of Sparta's top 3 players this week. Wow. Really, Red Zone? Okay. Well, definitely the biggest loss so far this season, 95 points. Definitely don't know if Red Zone's just giving up or doesn't care anymore. But if you're still in there, we still got several weeks to go. Just start. If you feel like you're not going to make it to the playoffs, at least start taking some people down with you. Definitely. I know it sucks going with no win, but come on, man. Just start taking some people down with you if you can. There's no point in giving people easy wins, you know. Goes to Sparta, can't knock your gameplay. 95 points. Came down to it, just better team management. Up now, we have Conkers versus Peekaboo. Final score 102 to 101, giving Conkers the win by 1 point. This is our closest matchup we had this season. So let's break down how Conkers pulled it off by breaking down his top 3 players this week. First up, we have Mark Ingram, who had 18 fantasy points from 17 carries and 77 yards. Also, Ingram had 6 catches for 51 yards. Now, we have Amari Cooper, who had 14 fantasy points from 4 catches, converting those into 49 yards and 1 touchdown. Big play this week was getting a touchdown that was ruled not a touchdown and having the call reversed, making it back into a touchdown. Third, we have, I believe, our first kicker this season, Adam Vinatieri, in the top 3 for 12 fantasy points, having 3 for 3 in his field goals and 1 extra point. Highlight play for Vinatieri was a 27-yard field goal to win the game for the Colts. Ladies and gentlemen, and here is Conker's top 3 players this week. Okay, so Conker's a good win, a very, very close win. Peekaboo, I can't knock you. You did what you could. Unfortunately, you lost by 1 point. Both played well, just 1 point difference. Even taking away your home field advantage, it was only 2. So can't knock you. You did well this week. Both of you did well. So when it came down to it, Conkers took the win. So definitely look up to next week. See if you can pull it off. Now up, we have Polygon Man versus Neo Cortex. Final score 177 to 126, giving Polygon Man the win by 51 points. Let's break down Poly's top 3 players this week. First up, we have Devontae Freeman, who had 37 fantasy points from 14 carries for 68 yards and 3 touchdowns. Freeman also had 5 catches for 81 yards. Highlight play this week was his first 2 touchdowns, breaking through easy holes and bursting into the end zone. Next, we have Josh Norman, who had 25 fantasy points from 4 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 1 touchdown. Highlight play was a pick 6, resulting in Panthers' first touchdown of the game. Now, for his 3rd spot, we actually had 2 people tied, making them Keenan Allen and the Packers defense. So going first, let's break down Allen. Allen had 4 catches from 72 yards and 1 touchdown. Packers also had 17 fantasy points, kept their opponents only to 3 points, getting 1 interception and having 6 sacks. Highlight play for the Packers was Clay Matthews mocking Kaepernick. Remember, you're not Russell Wilson. So, here's Polygon Man's top 3 players this week.
Another for the dustbin of history.
Man. Definitely one of the better matchups this week. We had 2 brothers going head to head. Sad to see Neo not come with the win or close to the win. Definitely from that convincing win last week. Going over 200. Just couldn't pull it off this week. Polygon Man. The owner, he definitely came with the A game this week, and I guess he showed Neo Cortex why he's the big brother. So good luck, maybe next week, buddy. Final matchup this week, we have Jack and Daxter's Eco Legends versus Lincoln to Win It. Final score 142 to 112, giving Jack and Daxter the win by 30 points. Let's break down Jack and Daxter's top 3 players this week. First up, we have Vincent Jackson, who had 30 fantasy points from 10 catches, 147 yards, and 1 touchdown. Second up, making the return, we have Adrian Peterson, who had 19 fantasy points from 16 carries and 81 yards and 1 touchdown. Highlight play was a 48-yard touchdown run, getting his touchdown. So for the third spot, we actually had a 3-way tie between Russell Wilson, John Brown, and Broncos defense and special teams, all getting 16 fantasy points for Jack and Daxter. Since no one really pulled off much between the three, we're just going to honorably mention them, and no breakdown for those players this week. And here is Jack and Daxter's top 2 players this week. Oh, and this final matchup really came down to the quarterbacks. Russell Wilson versus Matt Stafford. Unfortunately, luckily for Jack and Daxter, Russell Wilson doubled the output of what Matt Stafford put out. But when, in retrospect, definitely if Lincoln had put in Drew Brees this week, 22 points would have definitely ate up, and he would have took the win. So just lucky he didn't. For Jack and Daxter, you better stay on your toes. You got a tough matchup next week. Lincoln, definitely a good solid try this week. Just didn't come with the W. So hopefully next week can get. Okay, guys. So it's come to that time in the show where we got to say bye. We got to part ways. I exit stage right. You exit stage left. However you want to do it. But definitely thanks for tuning in. I love doing this show, and I'll keep it up the best I can. Just put a little prank on the page if you guys hadn't noticed. Definitely always going to put out the show the best I can. It's not my bye week yet. So, as always, we bend, don't break. Just another reminder with the pink shirt and everything like that. Definitely, if you're interested, look for some ways to donate to battle breast cancer. Because just like every female who has to deal with it, there's a few males who unfortunately have to deal with breast cancer as well. But just looking out for them. Remember, they bend and they don't break. So definitely show your support to them. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you guys next week.